Solo Leveling Season 1, Episode 12, Arise. The clash of steel echoed endlessly within the ancient throne room. Jinwoo's breath came in ragged gasps, each inhale scraping his lungs like sandpaper, each exhale trembling with exhaustion. His body screamed for rest, but there was no mercy, no reprieve. He had been hurled across the stone chamber moments ago, his back colliding with a pillar that cracked upon impact. Dust rained down, sticking to the sweat plastered across his skin. The knights advanced, gleaming red in their armor, their hollow helms burning with lifeless flame. Jinwoo staggered upright, blood running from his split knuckles. His dagger was gone, shattered. His mana reserves had run dry. He was left with nothing, nothing but his own body and a stubborn will that refused to bow. Move, he whispered to himself, forcing his legs to step forward. If I stop, I die. He swung his fists, bare hands meeting steel. Every strike left new cuts. With every parry tore fresh wounds into his flesh. His body was breaking, fatigue meters flashing warnings in the corner of his vision, but he refused to fall. Night after night collapsed, but more kept coming. The dungeon was endless, merciless, designed to break him. And then the whispers began. At first faint, like a memory, then louder, clearer. Mocking laughter, familiar voices. Weakest hunter of all mankind. You should have quit while you had the chance. Jinwoo froze. He knew those voices, Kim Sang-shik's scorn, Park Beom-shik's disdain. Men he had once trusted who had left scars deeper than wounds. He spun around, but the throne room was empty save for the endless nights. Still, the laughter rang in his ears. Then he felt a hand on his shoulder. Warm. Heavy. He turned. Song Chiyul stood there, eyes filled with pity. You don't need to keep forcing yourself, Jinwoo, his teacher murmured. It's okay. Just stop. Another figure emerged from the fog, Lee Juhee, trembling, her voice soft as broken glass. It's better to give up before it's too late. Jinwoo's throat tightened. These weren't real. They couldn't be, but his heart twisted at the sight of them. And then, a voice colder than the dungeon itself. You're getting what you deserve. The words made his blood freeze. Slowly, he turned. And there it was, his own face, his own voice, his former self, pale and frail. We get the Jinwoo who could barely lift a dagger, the Jinwoo who hid behind others as they bled. The apparition smirked, eyes glinting with malice. Look at you, beating your fists against steel, thinking you've changed, but deep down, you're still the same. E rank. Weak. Weak. Pathetic. That's all you'll ever be. Jinwoo's chest heaved, his vision blurred with rage and despair. Shut up, he spat, but the words trembled. The past Jinwoo leaned closer, whispering like poison in his ear. Why do you keep struggling? Do you think the world will ever see you as more than a failure? Do you think you can outrun what you are? A knight's blade slashed across his back, sending him sprawling. Another hammer strike drove him to his knees. Blood filled his mouth, metallic and bitter. His past self crouched beside him. See? Still not good enough. His body was screaming to collapse. His consciousness was slipping. He was back in that Kartenon temple again. Dying. Broken. Helpless. The knights surrounded him, their shadows long and merciless. Not yet, the apparition said, almost amused. They don't want you to die just yet. Its form flickered, fading into smoke. Until next time, Jinwoo. And then the world burned. The knights vanished, the throne room dissolved, and he found himself choking on dry air. Red clouds boiled above him. An endless desert stretched out on all sides. A merciless sun hammered down, searing his skin. Penalty zone. Jinwoo staggered to his feet, sweat already stinging his wounds. His vision pulsed warnings. Fatigue 92. Health dropping. His body was breaking. He opened the store with trembling hands, his vision flickering. Mana potions. He bought them all, swallowing until blue liquid dripped down his chin. Sweet relief coursed through him, cooling his veins, lowering his fatigue. But the health potions were useless. His wounds were too deep. Only time, or leveling, would heal him now. And the desert did not intend to give him time. The sand shivered. Mounds erupted. With a sound like mountains tearing apart, 6 colossal centipedes burst from the ground. Their armored bodies glistened in the sun, mandibles clacking. Jinwoo's shadow stretched long in front of him. He clenched his fists. The haunting laughter of his past self still echoed in his mind. Pathetic. Weak. Not good enough. He raised his head, eyes blazing. Then I'll prove it wrong, he charged. The battle was savage, a storm of sand and screams. The centipedes lashed their armored tails, their shrieks vibrating through his bones. Jinwoo leapt, dodging strikes, his fists slamming into their weak points. Blood sprayed, his skin tore, his lungs burned, and still, he smiled. With every blow, I grow stronger. A centipede lunged. Jinwoo caught its mandibles, veins bursting in his arms, and ripped them apart with a roar. Blood sprayed hot across his face. He threw his head back and shouted into the desert sky, "As long as it doesn't kill me, any pain I suffer only makes me stronger." His voice was raw, wild, filled with fury and determination. The centipedes fell one by one, their bodies crashing into the sand, shaking the earth. At last, silence. Jinwoo collapsed to his knees, drenched in blood, his and theirs. The desert shimmered around him, cruel and endless. But his chest heaved not with despair, but with triumph. He had survived. Again. Far away, in the quiet of a sole apartment, Gina stirred from sleep. A strange dream had pulled her awake. She wandered to the kitchen, noticed the dinner she had left for her brother untouched, and sighed softly. "Still working late?" she whispered to the empty room. For a fleeting second, she wondered if he had found a girlfriend. She laughed at herself and returned to bed, clutching a simple wish. "Please come home soon, Oppa." Back in the desert, Jinwoo stood once more, his shadow stretching long. He was not done yet. The desert faded. One moment, Jinwoo stood in the endless wasteland, sweat and blood dripping onto burning sand. The next, his vision warped, and the world folded back into the throne room. Cold air hit him, sharp and cruel, carrying with it the metallic stench of blood, and they were waiting for him. Rows of crimson knights, more than before, filling every corner of the chamber. Their helms glowed with the faint light of unnatural fire, their blades lifted in perfect unison. Jinwoo tightened his grip around the new dagger in his hand, the Night Killer. He had purchased it with the rewards of survival itself, and the blade hummed faintly like a predator aching to taste its prey. The nearest knight charged. Jinwoo's body moved before thought, ducking under the strike, his blade flashing once. Steel gave way like paper. The knight crumbled, ash scattering across the stone. But something didn't add up. No ding. No surge of strength. No level up notification. Jinwoo stilled, his eyes narrowing. Another knight came. Another kill. Still nothing. These aren't real monsters. His gaze swept the throne room. The answer lay in the shadows. At the edges of the chamber, robed figures stood, silent, staff-bearing mages. They were the strings. The knights were merely puppets. A surge of clarity coursed through Jinwoo. He pulled his arm back and hurled the dagger. It spun like a flash of light before sinking into the skull of a mage. The robed figure dissolved into dust, and instantly the dozen knights it had summoned collapsed, their armor crashing uselessly to the ground. A smile, faint but fierce, curved across Jinwoo's lips. "That's how it is." And then the slaughter began. He darted between enemies, a shadow among shadows. Each mage he killed brought down legions of knights. Their hollow armor clattered as their souls unraveled. The throne room trembled, filled with the echo of collapsing armies. The final three mages shrieked, pouring everything into one desperate spell. The ground split. From it rose a golem of blood-red stone, glowing with cursed runes. Jinwoo sprinted forward, his dagger flashing again and again. The giant crumbled, runes shattering like glass. Before the mages could scream again, his blade silenced them. And then, at last, silence. Jinwoo stood alone in the carnage, shoulders rising and falling like the beat of war drums. His hands were stained crimson. His body trembled, but his eyes burned with unyielding fire. A chime sounded. Job change quest complete. The text filled his vision. His battles had been evaluated, his style measured, his survival recorded. The result appeared in a single word: necromancer. Jinwoo blinked, disbelieving. A necromancer? Him? He was an assassin, a fighter who wielded blades with deadly precision. A necromancer was a summoner, a controller, a magician who fought from behind. "No," he whispered, shaking his head. The system spoke again. "Necromancer is a hidden class. Are you certain you wish to refuse?" His lips parted, but no words came. His mind flashed back. Mages commanding knights, armies collapsing when their summoners died. His own endless struggle, fighting every battle alone, always alone. If he accepted this power, he would never again stand alone. Slowly, with a heavy breath, Jinwoo whispered, "I'll take it." The system's chime grew louder, sharper. Special conditions met. Necromancer upgraded to Shadow Monarch. The words burned across his sight, vast and ominous. His heart pounded in his chest. The Shadow Monarch? What was that? His eyes traced the description: power to extract shadows from corpses, power to bind them, power to command them. One word appeared at the bottom of the message: arise. Jinwoo's lips trembled. The word burned in his chest, heavy, final. He whispered it: arise. The world shifted. Shadows surged across the floor like a flood, swallowing the stone. The corpses of the knights twitched, armor rattled, and then they rose. One by one, blue fire igniting in their hollow eyes, that they stood in formation, their blades lowered in respect. Then, as one, they knelt before him. Jinwoo's throat tightened, his vision blurred. For years he had been the weakest. For years he had been mocked, pitied, left behind. Now, 100 shadows bowed to him, pledging loyalty eternal. He could barely breathe. His hands shook, but his gaze drifted across the chamber to a still figure: Igris the Blood-Red. The knight commander lay where he had fallen, crimson armor cracked glass, helm broken. He had been the fiercest enemy Jinwoo had ever faced, and now perhaps he could be more. Jinwoo stepped closer, his voice trembling with determination. Arise. Silence. Nothing stirred. He tried again, louder. Arise! The air rippled, but Igris did not move. Only one chance left. Jinwoo's heart raced, his hands curled into fists, he lowered his head. Igris. His voice was softer now, raw, heavy with truth. All this time, you've guarded an empty throne, you've fought with all your strength, but for what? For no one. His throat tightened. His voice cracked. Don't fight for nothing anymore. Fight for me, not as a puppet, not as a slave, as my comrade. He lifted his hand, every ounce of will pouring into his voice. Arise. The silence stretched, and then the knight twitched. His helm lifted, faint blue fire sparking within. With a groan like mountains shifting, Igris rose, and then, impossibly, he knelt. The notification rang clear. Shadow extraction successful. Jinwoo exhaled, his chest shuddering. A trembling smile broke across his bloodied face. Igris, he whispered. No titles, no chains, just a name. The knight bowed deeper. Around him, the shadow army knelt as one, their weapons striking the stone floor in thunderous acknowledgement. For the first time in his life, Jinwoo did not stand alone. Far away, dawn spread across the sky. Chairman Go Gun-hee sat in his office, hands trembling as he set his teacup down. His old body was weary, aching, but his gaze was sharp as it followed the sun rising beyond the horizon. So many hunters lost, he murmured. Wu Jinchul stood silent behind him, so many scars carved into those who survived. He leaned back, his breath unsteady, yet his voice clear. But I dream, Jinchul. I dream of a hunter who will rise above despair, someone who will defy everything we thought possible. His lips curved into the faintest smile, a guiding light for all of humanity. Meanwhile, a helicopter cut through the skies above Jeju Island. The hum of its rotors filled the tense silence of the elite hunters inside. Sir, the pilot's voice trembled. Mana reading, from below. The hunters leaned toward the windows, and what they saw made their blood run cold. Wings. The ants, those same monsters that had massacred 3 raids, had evolved, no longer bound to the ground. They soared, black shadows with wings cutting across the dawn sky. Choi Jong-in's breath caught in his throat, his hand clenched tightly into a fist. God help us, he whispered. Back in the throne room, shadows bent at Jinwoo's feet, an army of loyal soldiers, a commander at his side. Once mocked as the weakest of all mankind, now crowned as something far greater. The Shadow Monarch had risen.